Welcome to The Explainer. So if you've ever just stood there staring into the mirror, desperately waiting for your acne to clear up, and felt that absolutely crushing frustration when literally nothing seems to change, trust me, I hear you. It is so invalidating to put all this time and effort into your skincare routine and just feel like you're completely stuck. But today, we're going to completely flip how you look at that mirror.
You know, why is my treatment so slow? It's literally the first question we all ask when we start a new routine. But here's the honest truth. If your treatment feels agonizingly slow, it's usually not because nothing is happening. It's actually because the biggest changes are starting way out of sight, deep down under the surface. Think of it kind of like a city's water system. If a massive pipe is being fixed deep underground, you don't instantly get better water pressure in your kitchen sink, right? First, the pressure shifts, the flow changes, and then, only much later, do your taps finally run clear. Well, your skin works exactly the same way.
Which brings us to basically our core mantra for this entire explainer. Visible improvement is late information. I really want you to hold on to this one. We absolutely have to shift away from this hyper-focused, staring at a single pimple view and move toward a much more empowering, system-level understanding of your skin. The visible surface, it's literally the absolute last place to show any results.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today. First, we'll cover why nothing changes fast. Then, we'll uncover the hidden acne system. Third, how treatments rewire skin. And finally, spotting real progress. All right, first up, why nothing changes fast. Or, the delay. See, a breakout isn't just one isolated little event that pops up overnight. It is a continuous, moving process. And honestly, the absolute biggest mistake you can make is assuming that slow means your treatment is failing. It doesn't. It simply means your skin system just hasn't had the time to visibly respond yet. That brings us right to part 2, the hidden acne system, where we look way beyond the surface. Because to really grasp why this frustrating delay happens, we have to look at the biology. We need to understand this hidden little traffic jam that's happening deep in your skin, long before a bump ever actually appears. So here is how a breakout builds sequentially. First, the pore narrows. Second, material, like oil and dead skin cells, starts to collect. Third, bacteria grows in that newly trapped space. And fourth, your immune system finally responds. It is exactly like a slow-draining sink. Tiny bits of debris collect slowly over time, and at first, the water still drains, maybe just a tiny bit slower. But the blockage? It's completely formed before the water actually pools up and stops. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what happens between what's hidden and what we finally see. As that pore narrows and material starts collecting, a completely hidden clog forms. Then, as bacteria and irritation start ramping up, the pore becomes highly unstable. It's only when your immune response finally kicks in that you actually see the redness, the swelling, and feel the pain. And the spot fades much, much later than it actually formed. So again, your mirror is always the very last to know. And this all happens because a single pore isn't just a simple one-ingredient problem. It's a whole system problem governed by a few key variables: oil production, skin cell shedding, bacterial growth, and inflammation. Imagine a super busy storeroom. Supplies just keep arriving, but the exit door is jammed halfway shut, and the air inside is just getting stale. The issue isn't just one bad box, right? It's the combination of too much incoming material, terrible clearing, and the perfect conditions for a mess to just keep growing.
Then, of course, comes inflammation. Now, this is really just your body's forceful response to that quietly hidden clog. It's the very thing that turns a tiny invisible clog into a bright red, painful spot. Honestly, think of your immune system like someone storming into a super dusty room and just aggressively tearing things apart to clean it up. I mean, it absolutely means well, but the mess looks so much bigger and angrier for a while. The redness is just a reaction. The real root of the problem started quietly weeks ago.
Now here is another incredibly confusing part. Acne lesions literally live in completely different time zones. Some are just starting, some are fully inflamed, and some are finally fading. So judging your overall progress by one super stubborn pimple, that's like grading an entire classroom of students based on the progress of just one kid who happens to be struggling to finish their assignment. It just doesn't make sense. So, how do we actually fix this? Let's move to part 3 and see how treatments really rewire your skin, fundamentally changing the pattern. Look, treatment is not a light switch. You can't just flip it and suddenly turn the acne off. It's all about retraining a living, breathing system. Imagine repainting a wall that's covered in old, peeling paint. You've got to clean it, prep it, and carefully apply the new paint layer by layer before you ever get to see a perfectly smooth finish.
Now, what's really interesting here is how these targeted, completely hidden changes eventually create those visible results. Real acne medicines don't just magically zap a pimple overnight. They actually change the core rules of that crowded storeroom we talked about. They might keep pores clearer, so fewer new pimples even have a chance to form. Or they help skin cells shed normally. Or they calm the immune response, so you're seeing way less redness and swelling over time.
Essentially, what your treatment is actually doing is changing the soil, not just yanking out the weeds. Now, fair warning, sometimes this means things might actually look a bit worse before they get better. It's incredibly frustrating, I know, but think about it. If you disturb a really crowded, messy shelf to reorganize it, loose items are definitely going to fall out first. Your skin is literally being reorganized, actively pushing out everything that was already unstable underneath. And rewiring a system like this, it absolutely takes time. Over a period of days, you might just shift from frequent clogging to slightly less clogging. Over weeks, your skin starts mounting much calmer immune responses. And over months, you finally start seeing fewer new lesions. It's honestly exactly like learning a new posture. Your body literally has to unlearn years of bad habits and slowly reinforce a brand new, stable pattern through constant turnover.
Which leads us right into our final step, Part 4, Spotting Real Progress. Because we're going to give you a practical, super reliable new rubric to measure your success, completely without that daily panic.
So, we need to totally replace an old habit with a new one. The old habit? That's obsessively checking the mirror every morning and asking, did that one pimple disappear yet? The new, scientifically backed habit is asking, wait, are new pimples appearing less often? We are measuring the overall trend of the whole system now, rather than grading your entire journey on a single annoying spot. So the crucial point here is learning how to identify this subtle shift during your treatment. You've got to look for the early signs. Before treatment, you had constant, frequent clogging and repeated inflammation. But during treatment, the signs of real progress are things like fewer new clogs forming, calmer lesions that are maybe smaller, or just less painful. And hey, maybe your skin is even noticeably less oily by midday. The perfectly clear pattern of visible improvement, that part comes later.
And that brings us right back to our anchor mantra for the final time. Visible improvement is late information. That angry spot you were looking at today, it is only the very last part of a much, much longer sequence. The delay you're experiencing isn't a failure. Actually, scratch that. It's not a delay at all. It's just your skin undergoing a massive, completely necessary transition.
So I want to leave you with this final, hopefully empowering question to think about. Is your skin's underlying pattern moving in the right direction? Because once you stop guessing and you start observing your skin system's overall trend, you take all your power back. Just be patient, trust the hidden healing process, and give your skin the time it desperately needs to rewire itself. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. And hey, here's to understanding your beautiful, wonderfully complex skin.